let people have guns. I don't think it is a right.
Okay.
I mean, I agree that it's a right to protect people, but for people to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But I think, in this modern society where we have like police and the military, we don't really need guns, as in like to protect ourselves, because a gun is not a very it's a very dangerous tool, because guns can be used on all sorts of things. And if people need to protect themselves, they don't necessarily need a gun. They can call the police. Well, except if you live in very rural areas, then maybe you will need a gun. But I think if you live in an urban or suburban area, maybe not, because again, you have the protection of the police. So I don't think it's a right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole idea behind my statement with that is that the criminals will always have the gun. In order to equalize the playing field, then the defendant must also have a similar weapon of some kind.
Okay.
And when we see home break-ins or homicides or things like that, the police aren't there immediately. Typically what the police are doing now is like cleanup duty. See, they aren't there to prevent the crime. And the crime would have been preventable if that individual had been able to defend themselves.
With a gun?
With a gun, yeah.
But wouldn't it be more, safe, as in saying that we, input some kind of, defense system in the house? Like, for example, like I knew they can put down this metal, frame in the window so that people don't break in. And, if the house is being breaked in, they can do that. I know it's not as economically efficient, but like, it also prevent like people from getting guns, because if we legalize gun owning, then it will be more easy for criminals to acquire guns, which is the most I think a pressing problem.
Okay.
I understand that criminals can acquire gun in a more in an illegal manner, of course, because a lot of them do acquire guns in an illegal manner. But these activities could be fight by crime fighting organizations like the police. We have the border patrols and all that kind of stuff. They can prevent that. And I do agree that we have to, reinforce the border. That's true, because and against these violence and drugs, that's true. But I think that having citizens to own guns would be very dangerous, because what if like a child, uses like his parents' gun to kill himself? Like it will be more easier and more accessible for him to commit suicide. Or what if people with mental illnesses, if they have guns or they previously owned guns before they had mental illnesses?
How much do you know about current gun ownership in Canada?
Not really. I don't think we're really into discourse. I think more discourse in America. I'm not sure about that. But can you please tell me about it?
So it is legal to own some firearms in Canada, and for the expressive use of hunting or sport shooting. So we are able to do that. But it is a very, very strict process about how we can acquire that firearm. So do you know what a possession and acquisition license is?
I believe acquisition is... Sorry, what was it?
So a possession and acquisition license, we shorten it to a PAL. Have you ever heard of anyone saying, "Oh, I have my PAL"?
A PAL?
PAL license.
Sorry, never heard of it.
No?
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah. All right, so a PAL, it's a license for the possession and the acquisition of firearms. So you have to have that license in order to legally purchase a firearm in Canada. And it's a very strict process about how you can get into it. So before you even can apply to have that license, you have to go through a registered instructor who will teach you about firearm safety. It's called the Canadian Firearm Safety Course. And then once you go through that course, then you can apply for the PAL. And it's like an 8-hour course itself. And then you have to wait months to make sure that you're certified that you've taken the course, and then even months longer until you can actually apply for the PAL. So it's a months-long process. And when they register you to see if you can have the PAL, they do a background check and a mental health check. So the people who actually legally can own firearms in Canada are like the safest people. If someone says, like me, that I have a PAL and that I've qualified for it, you should actually feel safer around that person, because you know that they have no criminal background check and they're mentally healthy.
Mm.
So the way that criminals get guns is illegally in Canada. So 98% of the crime that is done with guns in Canada is actually done from people who don't have their PAL.
Oh,
So
I see.
like the numbers don't lie. PAL holders are extremely, extremely safe. They
I
know
see.
exactly how to operate their guns properly. They know how to use them safely. And the criminals, whether they are attempting to take someone's life or whatever, they are not safe with them. And just explicitly, criminals break the law. So
I
no
see,
matter
yeah.
how many gun laws you have, criminals will continue to break that law, and they don't care if they're going to break a few more by getting a handgun or AR-15.
Oh, so are you advocating for like expanding how many people can get guns?
I think the way we do it now is good.
Mm.
I think it
Like
it
under the current
seems to be.
system.
Yeah, the current system. I think it's fairly safe the way we do it now, except that right now the Liberal government is actually taking the number of the kinds of guns that we can legally own. Like these are hunting rifles, but they're
Okay.
banning them only because they look scary.
Okay.
They say they're assault style. They're not assault weapons at all.
I see, I
They're
see.
assault style. So like these would be hunting rifles or sport shooting rifles that they are banning. And now there's 2,500 different kinds of guns that are banned in Canada. And it's actually a big scandal now, this gun buyback program, where there's legal guns in the hands of legal gun holders, and the government is actually taking these guns from them, and in some cases they're not properly compensating the people for the firearms.
I see. Oh.
So it's like some of the firearms are worth more than what they're paying back,
Oh.
and they know that it's a bad program, but they're doing it anyway, and they know it's not going to reduce crime because, as I said, the PAL holders don't do the crime, and even the guns that these PAL holders have are very often not used in gun crime. So it's 98% of the crime that is committed with guns in Canada is done from non-PAL holders.
I see.
And then 88% of the guns that they're using in that violence should not legally be here.
Oh, I see. Oh, no, because I thought you were advocating for like that kind of American kind of.
Well, I
you know,
like the way we do it now. I think it is safe.
I think the Canadian system is way better. It's way more safe. So I guess I would agree with you in that we can expand, like we can let people have guns. If
Yeah.
we are under that, a very straight, bureaucratic, and also like that kind of background check and things, I think that is okay. Because, but if you're talking about, say, the American, how they would very easily to acquire guns, then I might not agree. But I think the current Canadian system is fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely very safe.
Yeah, and the way that I see guns, though, it's when you see a government of any kind begin to take firearms out of the hands of civilians, and they know that it's not going to stop crime, then there's other reasons for why they're doing it.
What do you think they're doing?
I think it's a control thing. So, when a government wants to apply more control on its citizens, it's very expedient for that government to remove any means of withstanding their authority. Does that make sense? So if they want to be very strict with their citizens, then they're going to want to remove guns from the equation because citizens are much less,
Likely to rebel.
much less likely to rebel if they don't have the means of rebelling.
Oh, so you're saying that because they are trying to restrict guns because they want to restrict other things, but they first restrict guns first, so they prevent people from rebelling, and then they restrict other freedoms like speech, press.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's a warning sign for me. When I see them doing this, it's like, oh, yeah, Hitler did it. They've done it in China and North Korea and a whole bunch of other places. They don't have firearms. And the data to say that lawful gun owners still will cause crime, it's not there to support that. In fact, when someone, think about it this way. If you were, just put yourself in the shoes of a criminal for a second and say you wanted to rob the convenience store or the bank. Then when you walk in there, everyone in there, so you have a gun, but then when you walk in, everyone in there is a gunslinging cowboy. How are your chances now?
Probably not gonna rob that
Yeah.
convenience store.
So, like, it makes sense that if a good guy has a gun, then they're more likely to stop a bad guy with a gun.
I see.
But if we're defenseless, then that bad guy with a gun will always win. And there are so many cases when security guards or even police officers in churches have actually stopped mass church shootings because they have taken the life of the criminal or stopped them or deterred them. They've actually saved lives by taking the life of the criminal.
Yeah, then I think it would make sense for like security guards maybe to own
Yeah.
guns. Citizen, I'm not very sure. I'm still not very sure because I understand that the system is very, tight,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure if we try to expand that, that might, like, given that it doesn't change the current system, I think it's fine. And I doubt people will really get a gun because I
Yeah.
personally would not consider getting a gun. But I guess if you live in, like more rural areas where police is more scarce, I guess that would definitely be more safe.
Yeah.
Regarding the point where they try to control stuff, I think the more pressing matter would be political reform than, I understand your concern, but like, I think the more pressing matter is that we need a political reform if they're trying to control more of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, we can advocate for like changes of party. We can just vote them out if we really want to. Yeah, so maybe like a change in the political system, less a centralized one,
Yeah.
would be more helpful, definitely,
Yeah.
for like preventing, dictatorship. We don't want
Yeah.
any Caesars and
Yeah.
stuff coming up here, right? So
Yeah, we can never rule out a dictatorship, though. That's why it's important to have at least some measure of power in the hands of civilians. And that's why I think it's a right.
I see.
But even then, there are other uses for a firearm as well, like hunting and sports shooting. And I live in the country, and
Oh.
farmers, they need firearms.
like it's wolf and wildlife.
Wolves and coyotes and stuff. And if we weren't able to manage wildlife like the predator population, then it would be very difficult to raise things like poultry, which is what I do. And even recently, I've had to take the life of a predator to protect my flock.
I see.
So if I wasn't able to do that, then wildlife would expand, and it would be very difficult to make a living off small animals or even large animals.
Then I would agree. I think you
Yeah.
can own, rifle style. I believe that's what you're saying, hunting guns.
Yeah.
But I think if you're owning cannons and maybe assault rifle, that would be a little bit more problematic because, like, automated weapons is definitely more dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is an argument too, like along the lines of like power in the hands of civilians. There is an argument for civilians having like say an AR-15 or a handgun. There is an argument for that because, like, again, the reason that the States has such a strong gun culture and such a very strong Second Amendment is because the way they started out, the British actually were trying to take firearms away from the American colonies in order to control them. And that's why they set up that amendment in the first place, was because they wanted to make sure the power always stayed in the hands of civilians. And their thinking and why they set that up was because they wanted civilians to always have like a matched amount of power to the government.
I think owning guns would be fine.
All right, yeah.